Hello, my name is Sandra Adkins, and I'm the Safety Culture, Human Performance, and Safety Science Manager. In this video, I'll be going over an explanation of how to use this pack to facilitate discussions within your teams, our final one for the year on our Safety Leadership Principles series. This one covers learn why mistakes occur and respond supportively. The intent of this pack is to help you have a conversation with your teams to better understand the safety leadership principles and what they mean in your own day-to-day work. We've put together some materials here for you in different types of content, but please feel free to use it as a guide, and if you want to personalize it with examples or things that are most relevant to your business and your team to better highlight the principle, please feel free to do that and make modifications as you see fit. We have included some video in this particular pack, so please download that in advance if you think you have a weak internet connection. We recommend roughly a 30-minute time slot that you maybe have in a regular standing team meeting or a standing safety meeting to facilitate this conversation and get to know this principle better within the context of your team. We hope that throughout the year you've already been using the content previously provided on the other principles. So far we've covered together we genuinely care about each other, we will not compromise our focus on safety, we understand how work actually happens, and released along with this one at the same time, encourage and recognize speak up, and within this one we will discuss learn how mistakes occur and respond supportively and why that's so vital to safety and learning in our operations. This principle covers, together we learn why mistakes occur and respond supportively. We explore why mistakes happen so that we can prevent or correct them. We deeply understand why things go well or go wrong, and we respond to issues in a constructive way. To become a learning organization, it's vital that we all live this principle, whether it's related to safety or any other issues in our business. It really helps us draw out both what's not going well and what is going well, and how we can learn and grow from it. We'll discuss this more with the context of the video coming up. We've included a video here from one of our leaders, Mike Zangi, who has a history in the Drilling Wells organization and currently within safety and operational risk. Please download the video in advance of your discussion, particularly if you might have a weak internet connection. Mike does a really excellent job in this video of highlighting an example from his working history where he made a mistake and how someone in his leadership responded and the impact that had on him. Something Mike highlights in this video, which I'll bring up here and you'll find in the notes, are what he gained from learning about the human performance principles, which this safety leadership principle is really built on. So those principles are: people will make mistakes, and they're rarely malicious and typically due to underlying systems and conditions. It's normal in our day-to-day life to not think anything of people making mistakes, whether they make a wrong turn or forget their keys. In a high-hazard business, we're not always so forgiving, and that's for a good reason, right? We don't want people to make mistakes because it can mean people can get hurt, the environment can be damaged, and something like this. So we need to take them very seriously. But what we do know is that it's not typically intentional, and that there's usually something in the environment that has led to that. And so we really want to understand what those underlying systems and conditions were so that we can fix them versus trying to just fix a particular person and then the conditions still exist there. So other elements of the human performance principles that come to play here are that it matters how leaders respond when things go wrong, and we need to take the opportunity to learn. So when something does go wrong, it's a time to say, how can I help? To say, thank you for letting me know. To really look deeply, learn deeply, so that we can get to the underlying conditions and not just fixing surface problems. So this is a really critical principle, and the better we are at it, and the better we are at responding supportively when things don't go as planned, the more likely we are to hear about problems that are surfacing proactively versus people maybe not wanting to bring them up or to try to take care of themselves because there may be a really negative reaction, or they may be fear of being punished when there's really underlying issues going on. If you'd like to learn more about this, You can search in My Talent in Learning for the Human Performance in BP Learning, and also Accountability in Human Performance is a really interesting one on this topic. A big thank you to Mike Zangi for letting us use this video. Following the video, we'd like you to facilitate a discussion with your team. You can use either the questions provided here, or follow the discussion where it takes you in a way that's relevant to your day-to-day work with your team. Listed here on the left are some situations that we know influence mistakes and make them more likely based on research. So some of those conditions that are going to make it harder to do things right and easier to make a mistake are if you have information overload, so too much information going on, whether that's on an Excel spreadsheet or a digital screen in a control room, whatever that case may be. Confusing visual displays or objects that look really similar to each other but actually do different functions. Insufficient time to notice and fix a mistake. The one that really impacts people the most out of this list is unfamiliar situations. So if you've ever been, for example, driving in a city that you've never been in before, if it's your first time in Houston, for example, and you're trying to navigate this spaghetti of highways and interstates, you're more likely to make a wrong turn or miss an exit, for example. So use these questions to talk about and share a time when either you made a mistake at work or at home if you prefer, and explore that. So how did your teammates or your leader respond? What impact did that have on you? If you could use the situations on the left as a guide, think about some of the things that influence those mistakes and share some examples of the ones that show up most in your experience where you are. And one other key point to highlight that we haven't talked about much yet is that we spend a lot of time learning from things that go wrong, but we can also share and learn from examples of things that go well. So what's happening when nothing's happening? How are we running so successfully so often all over the world? What's the gold in there that we can dig proactively? And even if everything's not going smoothly, there are ways to learn from our normal work before something goes wrong. So for example, you can search My Talent in Learning for the Task Improvement Process e-learning, and this is a process we use to walk through safety critical tasks, in most cases step by step, and really understand what are the performance shaping factors there. How can we improve things? So what are some other ways that you can learn from what goes well or goes wrong? And we hope you have a great discussion. In addition to understanding what the safety leadership principles say, the most important thing is to live these in our day-to-day behaviors. So if you see someone living the BP safety leadership principles and you'd like to recognize them for that, please consider visiting the 1BP page or following the links in this guide to submit a nomination for the Safety Leadership Principles Awards. These are given out quarterly across the different segments of the business, and we really encourage you to celebrate those who are role models in bringing these to life every day. And finally, we would like to hear your feedback. There'll be a link embedded in the pack as well as on the intranet site for the Safety Leadership Principles to take a quick survey, less than 5 minutes, to give us some feedback on how we can improve, what worked for you and what didn't in the content that's been provided throughout the year. And we'll help guide what is provided in 2022. So please let us know what worked. And for example, we've heard quite a bit of feedback looking for translations of the various materials into different languages. And look for those to be posted on the intranet site very soon. Thank you very much and take care.